my name is Malcolm Sommons II, also known as the Malc Show. I have a production business by the name of Sure-Handed Productions and a nonprofit, Perry Anna Precious Hands Incorporated, where we do a feeding ministry as well as a mentor group for boys. Well, our kings and queens, that's what we call them. That's pretty much it.
Diversified Game. Learn how to start, run, and sustain your business.
Hey, it's Kellen, and yes, you guys, I'm back from Ethiopia and Italy, and I'm going to get more into that on later episodes and, of course, other platforms. But today, right now, I've got a show for you because I got a young man who he's not just has created a show. He's not just been a teacher and helping the community. He actually has a position out here in Palm Beach County, man. And I heard at Leadership Palm Beach, them trying to say, will you run ever? And he was kind of like, man, I don't know. I got other things that I may want to do, but that's why it needs to be you. It's the people who don't want to just hog the light and all that. It needs to be the people who, say, look, I really care about the community. So, Sir Malcolm, Chief Malcolm, welcome to Diversified Game. How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Appreciate it.
Man, okay, let's get into it because we could go so many different ways, but I'm going to go in on the entertainment first. Then we can go to the politics and how maybe we can reform that in the future generations, starting with yours. But talk about the comedy, the stand-up, the shows. What inspired you to say, you know what, I'm gonna have the courage to see if I can do this? And congratulations on the new movie. Give us the game on how it started, and for that 14-year-old who's listening right now.
Yeah, well, shoot, the 14-year-old, I was once 14, now I'm 32, but it started honestly with my personality, man. So I'll say every school I went to, my main focus, honestly, was to be the funniest in the room and in the school. I used to pray like, Lord, I want to be the funniest, and I used to work to it. You know what I'm saying? And I was every school I went to, I was the funniest. I was the guy to stand out. But it started with that, just being funny, having that type of personality, and then it started to once I went to well, I always had a dream to be an actor. Right, be on movies and do a lot of things in entertainment, but I didn't know what field that was. When I went to college and had to figure out what I wanted to major in, I found out that was close broadcast journalism. So I graduated from Florida A&M University, Florida Agriculture and Mechanical University, FAMU, and I was on the radio there. Shout out to 90.5, the Flavor Station, who's helped me tremendously, and Sirius XM. I did a show there called FAMU Now. So everything entertainment, and I started the brand, the Malc Show, when I was at Palm Beach State College first. That's where everything started. I had the idea, all right, I want a show, let me cover these events. And then once I went to FAM, I was able to bring the Malc Show, the brand, on radio. Start there doing radio. And I remember when I went to an interest meeting for 90.5. And I was told to be on the radio, you got to know how to DJ. And I was like, all right, cool, bet. So that summer, I taught myself how to DJ, like really DJ, scratch and everything all summer. So by the time I went back to school in the fall, I know how to DJ. But come to find out, they wasn't really talking about DJing like that. They were more so saying you have to have an idea of song choice. That's all DJ is. DJing is a song choice. Because everything ran at 90.5 at FAM is manual. So we'll plug the songs in, and I work for X1023 out here as well. But everything when it comes to the radio with commercials versus non-commercial radio stations, that's why you hear a lot of the same songs. You know what I'm saying? There's something that we have to go by. It's like, all right, these are the top songs on this chart, so these are the songs playing. When I was over here DJing, everything was manual, so I was able to play local artists. I was able to bring people in and put them on. And that's why I started to gain a lot of my relationships because I had a hot show in Tallahassee. So any artist that came through, it was like, all right, you got to go on Malc Show. Because I was 4 to 7. I was prime time. And when I got that time, it was more so Terrence Ward, who's the program director there now. Well, at the time, it was Keith Miles. Shout out to both of them, both my mentors, as well as Tory Ford, that was running Sirius XM at the time. So they told me usually we only get these to like experienced people, but I sent in a mic break or I forgot what they call it. And it's different, term.
Hello, everyone. Come along with London and Sydney as they show you around the vibrant country of Cameroon. We explore the heart of Africa through the eyes of London and Sydney. Two explorers who journey across the great city of Yaoundé, exploring its rich culture, vibrant market squares, cultural heritage, and wildlife. With giggles and excitement, London and Sydney Explore Cameroon takes you on a fun-filled adventure, providing insight into the country's culture and traditions through the pages of this book. It's packed with exciting stories and super cool facts about Cameroon that will make you go, wow. Get your copy now, available on Amazon and in libraries near you. There's only one easy way to experience the exploration of Cameroon, and it's through London and Sydney. Don't wait, get yours.
I know what you're talking about. It's basically the sizzle or the trailer or your demo for those who don't know.
So basically, I sent in my demo tape of Ideal Show. So I'm in the room just recording. Yo, it's the Malc Show, man. Y'all know what it is, man. Tune in right here each and every Tuesday, 4 to 7. You're live right now, 90.5 the Flavor Station. So I sent them that for maybe, I think they wanted maybe like, they just wanted me to go through the clock because there's a clock on radio and film as well. You're at the top of the hour, half hour, and then back to the top of the hour. And then in between, you got your breaks and your commercials and different things like that. So I sent that in. They was like, you sound, but I have a natural radio voice. This is my natural voice. And sometimes I tweak it so I can sound like this, but this is my natural voice. And I found out that I had a unique voice. And then I found out, all right, maybe I could do voiceovers. So I started doing voiceovers and doing different things like that. And then after I graduated, I went on tour. I took myself on tour. I did a 10-day fast. Shout out to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. I want y'all to understand that's who I serve. But I took a 10-day fast because I wanted God to show me what's next. I was like, Lord, I'm a fast, and I want you to show me, and I'm gonna go off faith. And I went to LA. I covered the BET Awards. And literally, I went to LA and said, listen, God, do your thing. I ended up being the videographer for the Source magazine. At the time, my brother, J Bell, the artist, was the host for the Source magazine. Come to find out, the camera ended up cracking or something, or their lens broke. He called me and was like, well, I got my brother. He's in LA right now. He's a cameraman. He was like, bro, you ready? I was up. And, LA time is different. So I was up early. Because it's like 3 or 4 hours later than West Palm in Florida. So I was up, I was ready. I went to the JW. They usually stay at the Marriott across the street from the Staples Center. That's where all the celebrities were. I went there. I knew exactly where to go. I go in the lobby. One of the first people I see was what's the owner of the Patriots? Robert what's his name?
Kraft.
Robert. He's in a lot,
AKA Chinese massage parlor. If he's in Florida, that.
Him and the rest of the billionaires. But I saw him. I was like, oh shoot, I didn't know his name, so I called my brother. I was like, bro, who this is? I showed him. He was like, man, that's the owner of the Patriots. I was like, bro, I forgot his name. Then Big Boy in the neighborhood came through. What's bro name from 99 Jams? I forgot his name. Dang, bro.
Everybody is there at the awards.
Everybody
invited and not invited.
Radio Big Mac, because we were getting ready to go to at the time they called it the radio room. Right now they call it the hub. So these are all like top 50 radio stations in the US, right? In this room. Right now it's podcasts and stuff now. So it's podcasts now, and so it's probably different people in that room in the hub. At the time, that's when Megan Thee Stallion first came out. Lil Nas X, Moneybagg Yo, and they were dating Moneybagg Yo and Megan Thee Stallion at the time. So they were hot, really, really hot. And that was one of the biggest BET Awards there. The CEO of BET was there. But one thing that stuck out was when Fantasia walked in that room and everybody was like, whoa, and just to see that and just to be in that room. And we interviewed so many people, and it's all on YouTube. It's all on my YouTube. Not every single last person, but the interviews are on YouTube, the Malc Show, the interviews with J Bill. So that's where it started, just my personality. And then I started hosting. What got me into comedy is I was hosting shows, and I was like, man, I got to be a better host. Because if I look at it, everybody who hosts big events, they're all comedians. So I said, man, I got to, and I've had an idea. I've been supposed to start in the high school, really. But I was so nervous. I'm like, man, I got to create it. I didn't want to go on stage as Malcolm Sommons. Most comedians have a full name when they come out. So I was like, no, I got to create a brand. I got to become a different person. So I created the Malc Show. And then I did my first show. Shout out to Alexis Lockhart with Lockhart District. At the time, she did a fashion show. It was like a weekend of events. I hosted one day, and then I did like a comedy special. The next day, I was the featured comedian. At first, she was like, and this one I pitched it to. I said, man, I want to start doing comedy. I think it was like 2021, I believe. 2021 or 22. I think 21. 22, 23, 25. Yeah, 21. And then she was like, all right, do 30 minutes. I was like, I don't know if I could do 30 minutes. I don't know. That's a lot. But I got material. I written, because I'm funny naturally, but I have things I written. I just don't know how to do stand-up. Like, how do I do a stand-up show? Like, what do I do? So I ended up doing pretty well. I did 30 minutes and then didn't even know I did 30 minutes and ended up doing 50 minutes. So I went over my time. So, and the reason why I did that is because I wanted to start off hard, because the goal is to do a special, right? So I started and went backwards. I said, all right, well, I'm going to do a special first, because anything else is going to be like 5 minutes. At any kind of comedy club, it's 5 minutes, 4 minutes. If you go to LA, they give you 2 minutes or 1 minute on Kill Tony. So you got to be funny. But I did that. I did the long run first. And I was like, anything else is going to be easy for me because I already done 50 minutes. All I have to do now is learn how to be a stand-up comedian, sharpen everything, and the rest is where I am now.
Are you a successful entrepreneur or one in training? You've got the vision, but do you have the right partner to build your brand, your team, and your future online and off? At CPRfirm.com, we offer expert consulting, financial guidance, and life coaching because we believe in doing life with our clients. After all, what is it for a man to gain the world and lose his soul? Founded by Callan Cash Coleman, we help our clients not only succeed, but plan to retire rich. Your business deserves the best. Start building your legacy today at CPRfirm.com.
Let me ask you a couple questions on that, because comedy is hard and your audience can determine if you can go bam bam back to back, or if you'll have time to set up your jokes. What is your style, for those who haven't seen your set yet? What is your style, and how do you adapt to, people? You'll hear people say, oh, the white audience will let you set up a joke. Cat Williamson said that on interviews with Larry King, versus the black audience wants it like this. And how have you got your style, and have you had your boo moment yet where, the Apollo comes out and folks are like,
Nah, I ain't trying to never get booed. I ain't get booed. I mean, you get times where the laughs aren't that, the laughs not laughing for real. Mm-hmm. But it depends on the room. Sometimes it'd be a quiet room, and then after the show, be like, bro, you killed it, man. You were so hilarious. And you're like, bro, why didn't y'all laugh? Mm-hmm. So, but my style, and I started to tell people there's no, because some people like clean comedy or church comedy, but I'm like, I don't know. First of all, I don't curse, period. Just in regular life, I don't curse. So that could be similar to clean comedy, or comedy that you can use in a church, but not just because I don't curse. I still say nigga. I still, depending on the joke. You know what I'm saying? I may go far with it, but majority of it is what is my style? I would say just funny, over the top, like the guy that you be like. So if you go to a comedy show and then you hear the Malc Show, you're gonna hear some people be like, oh, he funny, like, oh, he gonna give you a show because I'm on the floor, I'm in the crowd, I'm a bunch of, I got props, I'm over, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm all over, I'm wild with it, but also uh
Wait, you got props like carrot top props? Like you coming with the trunk?
nah, so I do bring my carpet every show. I got a carpet that I made. Shout out to my nephew and my brother them and my family business, Tugs Rugs, TUGS RUGS. They on IG. So they make custom rugs. So they made a rug out of my face, and they got my tagline on it. Oh Lord, OHA, and it's on the back of my shirt. This is one of the merch. They got Malc Show. This is one of the hoodies, but they got Oh Lord on the back. So I bring that every show. And then, so that's like something I bring just to make me stand out. And then it depends on the joke. I'll bring props. Like I got a joke about jail, and I don't know, man. People be stealing jokes, right? But I gotta,
Yeah, no. Hold it, because I want them to go to the site and see the jokes,
yeah,
and then get it. Because one thing, like when I bring on comedians here, people think, oh, they're gonna be snapping jokes. This is about how people start and sustain and succeed in what they do. And the thing
yeah,
about you is you don't have to do this. You have, again, we'll get into the politics in a little bit, but you have things that you've done inside the community that you're eating. And so you're not necessarily what we call a struggling, starving comedian. I love the story. You took me back when you started talking about the BET Awards, because that was my
yeah,
first big show in 2003. Third
oh,
BET Awards.
yeah,
And, it opens your eyes, and to see that you kept pushing, where a lot of people that you were at that award show, they gave up because, they didn't have that
yeah.
instant flair, and that we were out there with Polaroids and Kodak cameras, man. It was, I mean, we were
Man,
hungry, so to
I
be
had a book,
hungry is.
I had a book bag full of equipment, my camera. Shoot, that's it. Because I'm a journalist first. I try to explain to people. I got my degree in broadcast journalism. I'm a multimedia journalist, so I'm a film producer. That's why I got this movie we're filming tomorrow, and we'll talk more on the movie. But I'm a film producer. I'm a photographer. I'm an artist. I got music out. I I cut hair. I just cut my hair. That's why I was like, bro, let me know when I cut hair, man. So, and I believe I don't like paying people for things I think I can do myself. Not saying I'm cheap or nothing. I just don't. If I see you do it, like if you fix my car, next time I should be able to fix my car. I don't want to keep coming to you like because I feel as though I'm not learning nothing. So that's just me. So I do a lot, everything. I'm a DJ, so a lot of different things.
Can you talk about that? Because I might write my next book on how, having to be a jack of all trades. A
Mhm.
lot of us in the community, we will have a business. I've done business for over 20 years. And, and it's like, I tell people, I love paying people. I love paying people because there's somebody who's mastered what I want to do, and it
Yep.
allows me to do something else, like spend time with the fam right now and go travel the way I want. But what is that hustle about? Because entertainment is not easy in Florida, anywhere you go. Whereas in California, New York, different places, Houston, I've seen movements come up from Houston to St. Louis to Oakland, California, where I'm from. And it's like 10 people are doing the same thing. In
Yep.
South Florida, it's not all like that. How is the camaraderie between the entertainment, and especially since you were able to do it, in Tallahassee? Was it easier to do out there and create the dream, or is it easier down here in Palm Beach County?
It's easier in a city you're not from. So
Okay.
Tallahassee, I was booming. Every time I go to Atlanta, it's all love. Anytime I go anywhere else, it's always, I did one show in Atlanta at the Laughing Skull, and then that same night, I end up doing maybe two or three more shows off of just people. Hey, man, you hilarious. We actually got another show. down the street, bro, not too far from it, maybe like 15 minutes. If y'all want to go, you can hit the stage. All right, bet. Hit that stage. Hey, man, what time is it? Oh, shoot, we probably can make it to this spot. Y'all want to go? Yeah, let's do it. Hit that spot, and then next thing you know, we end up at Waffle House, and now we talking all day. And so it's a little different. Out here is picking up when it comes to the comedy and movie scene, because we don't have a lot of that. So that's growing, I would say. So we'll see, and we'll show the world, because we coming out with these movies. We coming out with the second one that we're filming now. But once we start rolling with this stuff, people gonna put their eyes more on Palm Beach, if it's not already, because clearly the president lives here, and Air Force One is. I just did a tour at the airport today. Well, Air Force Two is at the airport right now. So yeah.
Okay. Were you able to get inside? Did Trump say, my black friend, come on, let's go up?
Nah, man. Even though he support HBCUs,
yeah. I got nothing to say about any politician except the one you work for. I like him. There's maybe a handful,
yeah,
but I also, he's not. I live in Loxahatchee, so he's not making necessarily decisions for me. I just like Sir Bobby Powell's style and how we met, while lobbying in Tallahassee. But I want to make it, clear that you play in all these worlds, because sometimes people think they have to choose. And like LaVall Walker, who is a pharmacist turned comedian, right? Everybody had a job before they got their big break. Yeah, I do too. He's too smart for the internet sometimes. Or like you say, the N-word, but you do clean comedy. Kev on stage, same thing. He's like, I do clean comedy, but I'm going to say, and I'm going to be who I want to be. Do you ever feel, whether it's your parents, your church, like, man, I can't say that joke? Do you ever get caught up in that?
I try not to, because as I see as a comedian, this is like the last space where people can be free and say something and be open. Because I mean, either way, you're gonna offend somebody regardless. So I don't focus on let me not. I'm gonna do it anyway. It's gonna be somebody out there that don't like you. So I can't focus on that. I have to focus on telling my story, because it's my life, and telling perspectives or different point of views, different things that I'll see that I go through. I'm telling like life stories. Every story may not be 100% true. It may be somebody else's story that I'm telling, that I turned into a joke, but I don't get too caught up in that, and once my mom started coming to some shows and my dad seen me perform, and sometimes she'll come to me and be like, you did this, or maybe maybe you should do this, or maybe not say this, like, and I'll be like, I take it into consideration, but I mean, everybody else is like, bro, you killed it, you're hilarious. I'll be like, I take it from that, because they the ones who really paying attention for real. Mama gonna always give you the,
and you got to take it. My parents aren't, my biological parents aren't here, so I tell people, whatever mom and daddy say, that's right, as long as they not harming you. But when it comes to the arts, if mom and daddy ain't on that stage, aren't on the film, or aren't in this business, you take it and say, yes, ma'am, and keep it moving, because it's like Picasso painting. You can't stop the greatness, even if it's not the funniest joke, unless they're help you punch up the joke. You gotta go through what you feel in that moment, and some people have a hard time just giving a speech. So to make people laugh consistently for even 2 minutes, 5 minutes, it's not easy. It's not easy at all. What also is not easy is being able to have a 9 to 5 while saying you're a comedian, what type of pushback have you gotten? Because when I met you, everybody was all love. Everybody was supporting you on that edge of the table. But I'm sure you got some pushback where this might affect you. You know, if you do that, they might just think you're the court jester. Have you had to deal with any of that?
Nah, what I deal with is I didn't know you were a comedian. Oh, you should do this, or they want me to perform now, or they want me to do something, So it's not like pushback. It's usually support, and they want to see what's going on now. So hopefully they understand, pay for some of these tickets and get there. But nah, no, not really no pushback.
Okay. And I can hear somebody who's listening, because most of the people are listeners. You guys go up and like and subscribe to the YouTube, and you can put a voice with the face. But I know the folks who listen can say, "Man, where's Kevin Samuels at? I keep hearing that fire detector, that smoke detector going off." But that's just that's just part of it. That's part of the soundtrack. For those who can hear it. I can hear the audience sometimes. But let the people know about this new movie. I believe it's on Amazon Prime. It might be on some other platforms as well. Child Support is the name of it. Give us some game. This is the pitch to make sure everybody sees it.
Yeah, for sure. Child Support. That's the name of the. Actually, I have my poster. All right, Child Support. This is not me in the character. I just use this so I can wear my brand. But Child Support, I play Deacon Malcolm in the movie. It's a comedy. Everything filmed in Palm Beach County. And it just hit Amazon Prime last Saturday. So it's up and ready. I think it's for sale though. It's on Amazon, but it's on other platforms. I don't have the list. I don't know what the entire list is. But it's on other platforms, but it's on Amazon. So that's what we're pushing through Amazon right now, and getting through the Amazon ads and different things.
Okay.
It's a funny movie. Like I said, there's a lot of great comedians in there. We're right now in production for Child Support 2. I still play the same character, Deacon Malcolm. That's why I had to get my hair braided. Usually I don't have my hair braided or nothing, but that's how I had it in the last film. So I want to look similar than I was. And we had a church scene. I was in a suit. So now this movie, in the last movie, we talked about the church. Well, I mean, we had a church scene that went super viral. And we were just playing. I was on a keyboard just practicing, and we were just going over some stuff. Because at first I was gonna play the drums in the scene because I'm a drummer as well, but I know how to play keys a little bit. Somebody else knew how to play drums, so I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna get on the keys and you play the drums. And then there was a song that we made up, the Will a Man Rob God, and we were singing it, and I got the tone, so I got the sound for it. I was like, all right, well, notice that I don't really play. I play everything I do. I play by ear. I play the sax. And I've always played that by ear. But I start playing. Next thing you know, the Neff show, started rapping, and then everybody was dancing. Somebody started recording. Next thing you know, we got over so many millions of views. And so now with that church scene, we talked about the picnic. So tomorrow we're actually filming. We got new actors in here. We got some professional actors. Shout out DJ Newmark. Shout out to Javon White, Victor Osborne, Ebony Elliott, who's the producer, and Cash, and everybody. Mike, who's doing the BTS. This movie is it's my first movie as an actor, and it's great. It's
What did you do to prepare? Did you go take classes? Were you trained? How did you prepare for that?
Eddie Green. Shout out to Eddie Green. I'm gonna drop names. But Eddie Green posted on his Facebook. I saw the casting call, and I was like, man, I gotta go. But then part of me was like, should I go? But then God was like, bro, if you don't go, you gonna be like, really, you're not gonna go, and it's in your city, so you gotta go. So I went, did the casting call, killed the casting call. They asked me, what did I have to do? I had to act like, honestly, I had to act like the role that I'm in now. They wanted me to act like a gangster deacon. So basically, that's what I am. I'm like a thug deacon. I'm the one. I got a gun in the film, and in the film you'll see why I have the gun in the church, and then so I didn't have to prepare for anything because besides read my lines, that's pretty much it. Everything else is ad lib. Like tomorrow, I'm ad libbing. I'm not even reading no lines. There's a couple lines in the script, but I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna ad lib this because it got to be super funny. Uh, and in order for me to be super funny, I can't be reading no lines. And all the great movies like Friday, All About the Benjamins. I'm like with Mike Epps. I'm like, man, he ad libbed everything. He ad libbed all his lines. John Witherspoon, you know, with the kitchen scene and in the refrigerator. That was not written, you know. So stuff like that, just organic that nobody will ever forget. Um, Things like that. So I think just me having the personality and the gift that God has given me, I'm able to use that um, with the limited practice or anything like that. I just need to know what I'm doing, where I need to be, um, and what I need to say or how I need to say. What's the scenario, and then shoot, we shooting action.
Let's have a moment because when you talk about ad libbing the lines and just how you can do, many different things. I got my master's in mass communication, bachelor's was in something else, but in mass comm,
Mm-hmm.
and doing entertainment, people will think like, I remember when they said you have to sound like this on the radio or you have to do it like this. And this is why we created our own because we didn't want to do it like that. And then you have things that finally come out like a YouTube, but we were monetizing before then in different ways, having our own servers and being able to be in the cloud. What would you say to the people who, I say 50 plus, and they're like, man, these cats aren't taking the time to put into the craft. We dedicated our lives to comedy, or we dedicated our lives to film, or we dedicated our lives to production, and folks want to come in and just, come up with something. And I get that, many people have ad lib some lines, but when you're behind the scenes, these cats too are trained. They're trained, and Mike Epps didn't just step on the stage. He was trained by someone. It sounds good PR wise because we write those scripts too and say, "Yo, Jay-Z, say everything was freestyle, right?" But what would you say to that person who said, I dedicated my life to this? I need, like they did T.I., right? And I don't know if T.I. is funny or not on stage, but I know T.I. tells a good story. Like Kevin Hart tells a great story. I'm not a fan of Kevin Hart's stand-up, but that's just me because I don't feel the pain. But what would you say to those people who say, man, stay in your lane, man. Leave us something.
Um, I'll say, and I just watched Ti interview not too long ago. He said when people tell him to stay in his lane, he's like, there was no. Who said there was a that I couldn't come into comedy? Who said I couldn't? Because at first I was like, I had some thoughts about that. Like, dang, bro, he going straight to the big stages like that. But I found out that he did his work. He went to those rooms and did in those workout rooms and did his thing. And that'd be the main thing. People just want to make sure that you go to those workout rooms and get through what they went through. But also, I would say that I never took a comedy class. And that was one thing that I saw once I started looking at improv. Like, all right, what do I do to be able to get on the Palm Beach Improv? Obviously, the Palm Beach Improv, which is not there anymore, was at the Kravis Center. But I didn't want to take no classes. I saw those classes and I said, I don't need no class. I'm not taking no class. I'm gonna just go on stage. It's an open mic. I'm gonna go on stage, and the thing with that is you had to bring 10 people. And I performed at the Improv 10 times. And I said, if I perform here 10 times and nothing comes out of this, I'm not coming back. So I did that the work behind the scenes. And anybody who may feel as though that somebody may not put as much work in than they did, then maybe they need to, because everybody may not have to do that. Maybe they just have relationships. Everything is about relationships. Maybe you know somebody that, because my second show doing comedy was in Broward, killed it. And people thought I was doing this for years. I'm like, this is my second show ever. So, and then you got people who's been doing it for years who's not that funny. But like I said, I'm natural. It's a gift. Everybody is some people who take classes, learn how to be a comedian. And there's some people like me who just get on stage and be like, look, man, we just finna do it. So everybody got a different journey. So I can't speak on whether or not or how people feel, because there's no lane. If I run for office one day, am I out of my lane because I'm an entertainer? And that's a question that I have, because I'm like, when people ask me that question, I'd be like, I don't even know that's gonna mix. How am I gonna do that? Because if I'm an elected official, I'm not gonna stop doing comedy shows. I'm not gonna stop running the business. I'm not gonna stop videoing and taking pictures. I'm not gonna stop filming and doing movies. So they're gonna tell me to stay in my lane at that point. So, everybody got a different journey, man. I say go after everything that you can. If you fit in and you go and you doing well, I guess this is your lane. Clearly, if you doing well in it. So,
I dig it.
When you're driving on 95, there's no names on 95. There's either you want to be in the fast lane, and there's different levels to the lane. There's all the way to that's HOV lane or the fast lane, then the lane next to it, and then the middle lane, and then you have the slower lanes. What lane do you want to be in? I'm in the fast lane. I'm in the fast lane because I want to get where I'm going. Sometimes I go to the slow lane so that I can take my time, so I can evaluate whatever I need to evaluate and talk to whoever I need to talk to. And once I get all my information, and that's similar to your car, maybe you need to get off the exit and get some gas. So sometimes you got to get off the exit and get some gas and do some service to your car, or go back to those rooms and work these jokes, right? Because once you do a special, them jokes is out of there. You can't tell them jokes no more. You got to work on a whole new hour. So once I do a show and I do jokes over here, I try to do another show. I'm not going to tell the same jokes. Maybe some jokes I might do, because everybody relate. But comedy is all about relating to everybody. If T.I. can relate to everybody, which he already has a following, I say go with it and make some more money. I don't care.
And he's not the only one. I mean, they hate it when Charleston White jumped on the stage. If the late great Kevin Samuels, somebody that we consulted, he consulted with us before he blew up, and definitely before he passed. If he was still alive, he'd be on that same stage, probably, the way things are moving and grooving, and what he was about to do movies and all type of stuff. But
he was in, do one with Future. He did that music video, and then he passed. So he was on his way to films.
Yes, and we always thank the great O'Shea Duke Jackson for connecting us for that every time I mention Kevin Samuels, because that's who connected us. But we got the entertainment down. But I ask everybody, and I'm going to ask you this, and then we're going to get into the community piece, because you've done already so much, with you 200 students you've had in teaching plus. But what's a community give back while we go into the community talk? What's a community give back that you do, or one that you would like to do? Because you're just, I think that's also part of the purpose for you.
Yeah, so my nonprofit, Periana Precious Hands Incorporated, we do a feeding every Wednesday at Greater Antioch Missionary Baptist Church, and then every second Saturday at Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church. That's in Riviera Beach, Antioch. It's my home church where I play drums at. So if y'all come, I'm gonna be on the drums. But we do the feeding there every Wednesday, and then every first and third Saturday we do financial literacy classes, and it's different seasons. Sometimes we cook on Zoom with the kids and their families, because we create that eating with your family again. So we'll buy the food and have everybody cook on Zoom. And then right now we're doing financial literacy classes, both adult and kids or students classes, and learning about trusts and wills and investments and different things, learning a whole bunch of budgets. So learning, and then the kids able to learn, so, we're doing that out, as well as the feedings, and we're feeding hundreds of families because we're partnering up with other organizations, other churches that feed on Thursday. What's the church name? I forgot. I'll probably think about it. But yeah, we do a lot of that. I do a lot in the community when it comes to just reaching out, because being where I work, when we working on constituent cases or just helping people in the community or in our district, that's community as well. You have a lot of people out here that are struggling bad, and you don't know until you're in the inside, and then you'll realize there are a lot of elderly people going homeless. They're losing their houses, and that's due to maybe they got a loan on their house, and their house got liens on it, and they can't pay because they're not working, and everything is going up now, and their retirement is not enough, so they're losing their homes, or the family is not taking care of the home, or it's working people going homeless right now. People who's never been homeless before, not people who was on drugs and just not getting their life together, but it's working people. So things like that, obviously that's my work, but I also have a heart, So if I may hear somebody in the community that might just be talking out loud about their struggles, and I might go to them and be like, hey, I do this. This is my name. This is who I work for, and I probably can help you. Just email me, give me a call, explain to me what's going on so we can see what's going on. Because right now I work in the county commission, but previously I worked in the Florida Senate. So we were working on bills. So I used to go to people and be like, look, man, this is what's about to happen in Florida. They just passed this bill, and this is what's about to happen. Then you will see it on social media and all that stuff like that. But just being around and being in these rooms just makes you want to help more, because you can, and you're able to, and you're the one that people call. So being that I'm able to help people, I can't really not help them. That's just like having water and somebody's asking you for water. It's like, well, you got water in your hand, so let them have just a little bit, because they ain't drank no water in a long time. So that's
Tell the people, because a lot of people, think in Palm Beach County, everybody's rich. I mean, I have people who come to the house who have $80,000, $100,000 cars, and they're here to service the house or service something, right? And you're like, how did you buy the new GLE or the Wagoneer? And you do nails, right? And there's a lot of ways to buy things, and you don't know. Somebody could be uber, blue blood rich, or they could be struggling, and them and their mom and everybody pieced up. But a lot of people who just come as transplants to Palm Beach say, there's poor here. And I've had Deborah from the Palm Beach Harvest, who does her own sort of food bank and different things.
yeah,
But when
yeah,
you work with them? Okay.
or work before, yeah.
Okay. Tell the people, like, especially the young people, when you see the flash of South Florida, of Palm Beach County especially, what advice would you give them, since you do financial literacy and you know what's happening? Because I'm from Oakland, man, and then I'm born all through the Bay. My take on things are a little different. Plus, I came here, mature with wife, kids, and everything. So my game sound maybe old to them, or maybe it sounds like something that is in the cracks and the crevices, like we did something different. But what would you say to the people? What are the mistakes that you see the young people making so they won't make them when they're old?
Well, um, first you gotta understand money. You gotta understand finance. You gotta understand how this works. And when I worked for the state, we got paid once a month. And then now I work for the county, we get paid every 2 weeks, right? So when I was getting paid once a month, that's when I had to really budget my money. I had to figure out how, because in the beginning, like the first 2 checks, it was like, man, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Because I never got this paid once a month before. So we hear pay yourself all the time, right? Make sure you pay yourself. A lot of people don't understand that. So when you get paid, and I'm gonna just give you the breakdown of what I do. So just say you get paid, right? And I have 10 streams of income, no cap. Just I got different streams of income. But they're different hustles, you know what I'm saying? So I'll take my whatever you get paid, right? Just say you got a check. You take 30% of that. That's just me. You can do whatever you want to do, but I take 30% of that and pay myself, right? The 70% is bills. You take care of your bills, obviously, pay your tithes, and then I take whatever I have left. I take 50% of that and either save it or invest it or put it up or something like that. Because once your bills paid, and then you just got extra money. If you got extra spending money, then so what I do is like I take 30%, I pay myself. Since this camera did this, whatever it did. So I pay myself 30%, and this is breakdown that Kevin Hart. I just heard Kevin Hart do it, but then I realized he got it from Shaq because I heard it from Shaq first. So what they do is they take their income, they cut it in half. You got 50 and 50, right? One half of it pays the bills and handle your business. The other half is for investments, real estate, your business. It helps you make more money. It's for your assets. And what I learned in Rich Dad Poor Dad, if you haven't read the book, is if once you pay yourself, if you're short, then you got to find another way to make some more money. You can't use all your money and be like, dang, I just paid all my bills. I ain't got nothing else. That means you don't have enough streams of income. So, and I'm not the richest in the world, but this just been working for me. So you split in half, right? And then when you get paid again, you find ways, and you may not have anything left after your bills, and be like, man, well, everybody can't do that, but that means you gotta find another stream of income. You gotta sell a product. You gotta figure out something. That's just what it is. In order to be a millionaire, you got to have multiple streams. There ain't nobody going to be a millionaire unless your business is just Amazon. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, but even a CEO of Amazon have multiple jobs. He's not just the CEO of Amazon.
No, it's not. And I'm glad that you're telling this story because you don't have to be the richest. When you say Shaq and Kevin Hart, some people tune out because they say, well, I'll never have that amount of money. But if you're a teacher here in America and fully fund your 401k, which I believe the maximum thing is 23,500, you can retire a millionaire. It might take you 20, 30 years, depending on how you move and what you don't buy. But I appreciate you telling that because people get tired of folks like me saying, you make it sound so easy. No, I'm just telling you, you can't go to Oakland Park or to Lamborghini or Ferrari yet.
Yeah, and you're right. And I actually saved a lot of like my first large amounts of money, like my first savings while being a teacher. So I didn't really spend a lot. I was getting paid. It wasn't a lot. So once I started working in government, I'm like, well, you getting paid more. Ain't no way you can't do this if you got this much and you did it. But every check I was just taking out, not spending as much money, and that be the thing. And it's not that we don't have the money, it's that we don't do what we don't do the right thing to it. Right. And I learned that again in Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's like, what did Robert say? Robert Kawasaki. It was like, it's not that we don't have the money, it's that we don't spend it right. Because if I get more money, all I'm gonna do is just have more expenses. So if you can't handle $100 and budget at 100, you're not gonna be able to budget 1,000. Because now, once you got 1,000, it's like, oh shoot, now I can get this. in that and take care of this and take care of that. Versus when you had 100, it's like I can't really do much with that. But once you get 1,000, now you change your mind, like, oh, now I can get this and that and that, instead of taking that 900, putting it up and saying, you know what, I'm gonna still live as I'm making 100 and pretend as though that extra 900 didn't even come in my life because I was surviving off this 100. So once that new 900 came, then I'm gonna just pretend like it wasn't here and just keep living the way I've been living. And now that money's just stacking up and you ain't touching it. So it's how you fit.
And that's the hard part, especially if you come from that lower poverty. But even if you come from middle class, it's living within a budget. Dave Ramsey teaches it for the last 30 years. The game is here. The game is here. Are you listening? Even the pimps tell you, man, if all he got is some bad ghetto game, that's all he can give you. But we see people keep repeating the same cycle. And you're like, man, your grandmama was out there like that. You don't have to do that. And again, the Bible will tell you, scriptures will tell you, the poor you'll have with you always, but you don't have to keep making poor decisions. This is the only country that you can give somebody $2 million in a defined benefit plan and get $8 million back in 10 years. And people say, hello, how do you do that? But you can do the same thing with whatever you have, because, the bank ain't no respecter of persons either. You put it in, you do what you're supposed to do in the right accounts. For Riviera Beach, what do you think is something that we can help the next generation? Because again, you and I, we probably saw teenage pregnancy. I was a substitute teacher for a short time, and I remember a young girl during a fire alarm standing on the counters. Mr. Kellen, 13 years old, get me off this thing. I don't want to die. I got a kid at home, and she was already pregnant. And you ain't supposed to touch kids, but I had to grab her. I don't want to see any more pregnant 13-year-olds. But if we're honest, some of our grandmothers were that age, right? Whether it was by force or by choice, that could decide different. For that young lady, I don't think it might have been by choice, because who is watching this baby? I got a 15 and 11-year-old. Like, who's watching this kid, right? But what is something Riviera Beach? Is it the teenage pregnancy? Is it that we're not marrying before we carry? Is it the drugs? Is it the gambling? Like, what do we need to tell this next generation to do to stop the cycle?
Well, first, I would say a lot of people don't even believe in God. A lot of living however they want to live. So they have no direction. They don't have no backbone. They don't have no support. So they live in their life however they want. And then with that, they don't have the right people around them. So if I got somebody who not going anywhere and I'm with them every day, because I used to be there, and just hanging out in Revere, just hanging out with my boys every day. We got aspirations, like we got dreams and different things. Like I got a car, I'm in school, but we don't really know. All we did was sat there and talk about what we want to do or what we dream to do. After a while, it just got aggravating. I was like, bro, all we doing is sitting here every day. We meet up every day. Let's start a business or something. We're going to be meeting up. And then that may turn into, man, you think you this and that. I remember somebody told me, and this person had a house and everything. I'm like, man, listen, why don't you just, because they were talking about music. And that's when I was heavy into music. And I came back home. People's like a celebrity because I was moving. I had motion. I was on tour. I was doing stuff with my life. So people came to me for advice and different things. So I'm like, man, why don't you just teach yourself? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? You can start your own studio. You don't have to go to the studio and pay them. Just buy the equipment and do this and teach yourself how to use it. And then now you ain't got to do that. Man, everybody ain't like you, man. Everybody can't do that like you doing. I'm like, but I taught myself. What you mean everybody can't? I'm like, I taught myself so I won't have to deal with all that. yeah, but everybody ain't like you, man. And then we ended up, he ended up kicking me out the house or whatever, because I'm like, but that's just people mindset, and I'm not better than nobody. I'm just telling you, like, why don't you just learn how to do it yourself? You're complaining how you can't get this, or you don't have this, or you don't have that. I wanted to be on TV. I wanted to be an actor one day in my life. So when I went to college, I got my refund check and I bought me a camera, a Canon T5. It was $200 from eBay. Bought my camera. That's the same camera I interviewed Fantasia on. $250 camera. Now I have this one. This one is more like $2,000. You know what I'm saying? They added a zero. This lens $800 by itself. You know, and but that's because I needed I needed quality. I'm filming better stuff. I'm doing BTS and following artists around and doing their documentaries. So later down the line, I bought a better camera, you know, better laptop, so I can film and edit in 4K. But I started with a Canon T5, which I still have. I'm not getting rid of it. One day I want to put it in a frame in like a glass or something in my house, because that got a lot of history. I filmed the same camera during those 2020 protests in the rain. If you look on, it's an artist, my brother, artist Show Thief. He got a song out we did years ago called Stood Tall. We filmed that during 2020 when we were protesting. They ain't there every day. 2020 was so just, oh my gosh. That's when we shut down 95 that time and was protest. I think it was the same day. We shut down 95 and somebody ended up getting arrested that day too. And we got him out. It was like, we is not finna go until he get out. Get out. You better take him out that car. It was so many of us. And we, but that day it was raining. And we filmed a music video that day. And that's on YouTube. But that's when everything was just, I was hungry. I was doing everything possible. But before that, I was, oh man, I need this camera. I need this type of mic. I need this. I need that. And we spend so much time thinking about we need the $2,000 camera or the red camera, the $10,000 movie camera, or we need this to start. But now when you look at it, everybody doing interviews off of iPhone. People filming them with their phone, and they doing this. And then it's really not even about the quality anymore. People just want it right now. So now it's not even about whether or not you filming or you putting out content with the big production. It's more about how fast could you get it out. So now the iPhones are beating the cameras. So now I'm like, well, I need another phone. Because you can get a lens on your iPhone. You can get a gimbal, a stabilizer. You can get a mic. It's a camera. So, and that's what I did. And I guess it's because I used to teach. So, and that's what I did with my students. They had iPads at the school. I worked at Renaissance Charter School. I went in as a sub, like you did. The principal saw my resume and said, "Dang, I didn't know you had this much experience in media." And I said, "Yeah." So she was like, "Well, how would you like about starting a journalism program here? New program?" I said, "Yeah, I'll do it." So I didn't have a curriculum. She was like, "All right, well, give me your curriculum, and then we'll go from there." So I built the curriculum, wrote, and then took it to them, and I got the idea. I got everything that I had from FAMU. I basically gave middle school, elementary kids a college curriculum, capstone, and just gave it to them, and they did phenomenal on that. And at the time, the school only had iPads. I've never filmed on iPads, but it's similar to a phone. So the only thing I had to figure out is how do I hook mics up and allow them to be able to record and have a mic on. And I found out all you gotta do is just put it on airplane mode. So, okay, cool. All I gotta do is put it on airplane mode. Let me put these mics up. And sometimes I let some of my students, like my stars, I let them use my camera and stuff like that because they was interested. They wanted to do this. Some of them was in graphics or wanted to do graphics. So basically what I did was a capstone. So each one of my students had a portfolio with a bio. They had a news story or a cover letter or something like that. They had a table of contents. They had some other things, like some other content, but they all had their own website. Each one of my students had to build their own website. They all had to come up with some type of brand or business or whatever, whether they wanted to keep going with it or they just have an idea, but that's your project. So everybody had a brand, everybody had a headshot, everybody had their own website, everybody know how to write a news story, write a biography, obituary. Everybody knows how to conduct interviews, film, knows about angles and everything. That was their project. And we also built, which got me Teacher of the Year. I had them build cameras out of cardboard and camera equipment. So they took cardboard or a poster board, cut it up, made a camera out of it. And I wish I had one to show you, but that blew my mind. I didn't even think that they can do, and they did so well. But that just shows you, like, all you have to do is give it to them and let these kids work. It's not, they're not too young, and that's what we do. We wait till they get so older. Now they're too old to even listen to you because they're grown now. You're trying to teach an 18-year-old to listen to you. They're grown now. You got to start them when they're elementary. That goes back to getting pregnant early. You have to tell them, like, they're not having sex only at 18. They're having sex at what, 12, 11 now? Like, you got to teach them earlier now about everything. So that just goes into like the teaching. And
can you tell us about your stars? Because you might have had somebody who went to college. Like, you saved lives by giving them something to do where they might not have had an idle mind as the devil's workshop. But can you talk about any of the stars and those testimonies?
So, I don't know where some of my students are. They were in middle school. They all graduated high school now, though, because I saw some of them, and I saw one of them or two of them in Walmart, and they came up to me and was like, "Man, Mr. Sommons," that's what they call me, my last name, or I let them call me Malc Show. They was like, "Man, Mr. Sommons, I didn't understand what you was teaching then, but now I see." Because what I was teaching them, like I said, it was a journalism class, but we were during the Trump administration, and I only taught 1 year, and I also ran a boys group at the time there too, that I took over when I was there, and that was like 50 boys. I had them all. Like, I always ran my class and controlled my class. I never had any issues. Maybe one. With somebody stealing some money from a field trip. But the only thing I got from my students is like, thank you from what you taught us, because they didn't see what I was trying to teach them. And I told them that. I said, y'all would not understand what I'm telling y'all, but I need y'all to be aware of it at least. So when you see it, you're not like, oh shoot, what do I do? At least you know what to do now. So once they got in high school, they're like, oh, I see what you was talking about. I thank you for that, because now we're prepared. I didn't even know what you was talking about. I didn't know that America was this crooked. I didn't know that that living as a black man or a black woman or Hispanic woman or a white male or a white woman, like what we had to face. I didn't know that this is what we had to go through, or this what was going on in America, because you don't see it. You're young. So I didn't expect them to know what was going on. But I think it's important for us to give them the information, so at least they're prepared, because once it's in your brain, it's there. Now, we may not remember the first day when we came out of the vagina, but it's somewhere in our mind. We remember it, if we can think that. But
sorry, Malcolm, some of us might remember, and some of us went quickly trying to go right back to that memory,
Yeah.
just in a different form. So that's y'all. I'm
I don't know
sorry. I don't
how
mean to
far y'all
take.
can go back, but yeah, I
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
go back in 3 years old, 2 years, maybe.
Yeah, no, some folks say what Chris Tucker say. I came from it. I'm gonna die from it. It's not the best line in the world, but yeah,
Yeah.
I totally get it. Now, one issue that I have with you, and you don't know this issue, I might have told you in person. I'm looking at the YouTube, and if my camera blacks out, I'm still here. I'm listening to your response, but I might just restart something. Um, I'm upset that I haven't seen a lot of love on your YouTube, man. What's going on with your YouTube? Can the audience expect something every week at least from you? Like what's going on, my bro?
So I haven't been honestly just haven't been dropping anything, but we're about to crank back up with my interviews. I'm taking a different approach with the interviews, and which will be more documentary style instead of those sit down interviews. We're still gonna sit down and talk, but I want to dig deep more into somebody's story because that's the whole reason why I created the Malc Show, and the brand is to give people a platform to be able to tell their stories, um, and to not have to wait till they become famous to do it. So, but we're about to crank back up right now. It's just real busy, working in politics and different areas and doing different things. But it's no excuse. I do need to put some stuff out. I do need to crank back up and do that. I just been working. I just ain't been posting and putting out content. I've been working for clients or doing comedy shows, which I don't post, or may post if I do some crowd work because people steal jokes. I seen it on stage right in front of me. They literally doing my joke. But it's coming for sure. I will tell you that it is coming. We are in the works of doing that. Yeah.
Can you give and I don't want to give everybody something because I want them to go to your YouTube and however you do that form, everybody like I like to just tell stories. Who needs to hear it is gonna hear it. And it's only after, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, a decade, you hear people say, hey, thank you. And if you hear that, and that's not why you do it, but can you tell the people who say, man, I really want to get into politics? I'm a political science major. Maybe I'm doing my master's in it. That was my undergrad for bachelor's, right? Political science. People
Yeah.
wanted to get into politics. And I went to go after having a master's intern on the Hill in DC. And I said, man, this game is something I don't even want to play right now
Yeah.
because it's not like it's a get rich quick when you're, unless you're the Congress member or the Senate member. But it's also a very, as soon as they vote you in, I don't care who you in, somebody has something to tell what you did in the third grade. How did you get into politics? And how do you, navigate that, especially when you're working with black politicians, because they're the first ones that they got some tea on. They on anti got something to say on them.
Yeah. So shout out to Bobby Powell, who's Commissioner Bobby Powell, who's been my mentor pretty much my whole life. He went to school with my older brother, and they ran track together. They were friends. And so basically he took me in. He saw that I was involved in the community, that I had stuff going for my life, that I wanted to be somebody. So he's all about lifting, the next generation, and giving out information and uplifting people. So he took me in. I started working on his campaigns and different things like that. Um, I say what got me into politics is just basically just caring about what's going on. And one thing he told me that made me stick around was, in order to make change, you have to be on the inside. And I was like, dang, well, I got to be on the inside. In order to make change, I got to be at those round tables. I have to be at those meetings. I have to be where these people are. You know what I'm saying? I can't just be out here complaining like a lot of people do and not even voting and just complaining and saying, "Oh man, they ain't gonna do nothing, man. My vote don't count, or this ain't gonna happen, or that ain't gonna happen." You don't go to no council meetings. You don't speak up. You don't. All you do is complain. Me, I go to the meetings. I make my presence known. People know me. I have meetings with the mayor, all the elected officials. That's what I did when Riviera Beach. I had a meeting with when Riviera Beach got a mayor. Well, we have a new mayor now. But once Ronnie Felder became the mayor, uh, myself and Alexis Lockhart, and some other people went and we set up a meeting with the mayor because we're like, well, you the new mayor, I need you to know us. Well, we need you to know us, because we're young, we're the young ones that's making things shake around here. So we need to meet the new mayor so he can understand who we are, so we know, hey, you're gonna see us a lot. We need to work together. We had a meeting. The meeting went well. Next thing you know, I posted a picture, and then I get text messages. Hey, that's your cousin. What? That's my cousin. But his wife is my cousin. So I'm like, I didn't know that was family. I'm just trying to meet this man because he's the mayor now. I didn't know who he was. So now it's like, okay, well, shoot, maybe the connection to get closer. But it's just things like that, like being around, seeing things happen. Because when you inside, you see that, hey, they're taking things away from us. They're stripping. All right, no more DEI. I just did the airport tour. They have to remove everything, all their DEI policies. And when you see stuff like that, it's like, all right, well, we need to pay attention. We need to know what's going on. People complaining, oh man, my property insurance going up, and I'm about to lose my house. Well, I mean, if we went in numbers, at these meetings or at the Capitol and even at the Capitol, I've seen a lot. I won't say thousands, but I've seen a lot of people literally stand in front of the government center and was like, "Let's please don't sign off on this bill," and they still did it. So, and I also see. First of all, I understand I'm a black male. I got my hair braided. Majority of the time, my hair is up in a ponytail. I do whatever. I do whatever possible to make people uncomfortable. Because shoot, they be uncomfortable, and I'm like, all right, well, you gonna be uncomfortable. I didn't do anything to you, but comfortable, I'm gonna make it known. But I do that because, well, first, the reason why I grew locks is because I'm a journalist, right? And I saw a lot of this at FAMU, just being in media. There were a lot of women, a lot of black women, that couldn't wear their natural hair on camera. And they had to go buy wigs. They have to put this makeup on and look and have this straight hair before they get on camera and be an anchor or do a news package or going. I'm like, man, y'all got to go through all that. They like, yeah, we got to go through it. This is what we got to go through. And I'm like, man, that's messed up. And not too long ago, the Crown Act, that's supposed to help us so we can wear our hair or whatever. But what really got me, my brother had a job, and they told him, you got to cut your hair in order to keep this job. And he was so stressed out, talking to his woman at the time, his mom, and he got kids, he got a family, he had to make a decision. So we talking, because this was my best friend, and he's like, bro, I don't know what to do, man. But I got to make a decision. I'm like, listen, I don't support the cutting your hair thing, right? For a job, for these white people. Because that's who it is. It's just, that's who own the business. I don't support that. But I do support you making a decision for your family. So whatever decision you make, I don't support what, I say get another job or don't cut your hair. But I'm not going to also say not make a decision for your family. So he made a decision. He ended up cutting his hair, and I ended up cutting it because I cut his hair. I said, listen, I'm not going to cut it low. I'm going to keep a fro at least just in case you want to grow on back. He was like, all right, cool. He was excited, cut his hair, went to the job. Later on, he ended up getting let go anyway. So you did all this for these people, and you cut your hair, and they ended up letting you go anyway. So I said, you know what? I'm not cutting my hair no more. I'm going to grow my hair because I'm going to be in the same room as a lot of people. But the difference between me is that I know how to talk to people. Like I know how to. I'm from the hood, but I'm also educated, right? I also know what I'm talking about. I also can make you feel uncomfortable because I speak so well. So being that I know that I'm gonna be in these spaces, and this was way before I was even in, I wasn't working for Commissioner Powell at the time. I wasn't working. I was just know that I just knew I was gonna be around them because that's just me. So I said I'm gonna grow my hair to advocate for black women, to advocate for anybody with locks that get discriminated against, and to advocate for just people, right, who can't wear their natural hair. And that's why I wore my locks. And that's why every day I go to work, they like, oh man, I didn't notice you because you didn't have it in a ponytail. Or I wish I could hair grow my. It's always conversations about my hair. It's never how you know what I'm saying? It's never no normal conversation. It's always straight hair. That let me know you don't know what you don't even have no conversation about. You don't have nothing to say to me. You don't even know how to start a conversation with me. And I can feel them. Certain people are uncomfortable, and it makes me happy. And I wear it up, I wear it out, I wear it down, I wear it whatever. But that's because I wanted to advocate for the people that couldn't speak up for themselves, that have to continue to go and work for these companies and wear they straight hair, put a wig on. That was really like the cutting my brother hair thing really did it, honestly. But it's early on just at FAMU, man. I'm like, they gotta change. They putting on their dresses, they putting on their makeup, but they gotta put on these wigs because they gotta have straight hair on camera. So it's just that just didn't sit well with me.
Well, I feel you. But the times now are where we can create our own. I represent the most followed Black news channel on YouTube for the last 9 years. And we let everybody wear their hair how they want, and we tell everybody who's making 25,000 at the news broadcasting, say, look, if you can get on our program, you can make a lot more. All our African journalists who have been continually, not to tell all their business because I represent some of them, make more than that, right? So it's like, what algorithm are you on? I've had long hair, I've had short hair. I don't think I've ever been denied a job, but it's also like yourself, I have skills. And so how you look at yourself when you walk in that room at the Forum Club, or when you walk in your room at the Breakers, how you see yourself is how they may see you, right? If you come in with full confidence, like, hey, I know some stuff, and I might be smarter than y'all. I might know some stuff in this tech when you talk about
Majority
crypto.
of the time,
Yeah. And so when you know what you know, and they know it too, you become like Riley in the Boondocks. Oh, he speaks so well. Nobody cares. I had to cut my hair for some spiritual reasons. The pastor kept preaching something that I went to Ethiopia and couldn't even find them. I said, I need y'all to justify this for me. But then there were some other things spiritually that I said, okay, I am not my hair, because ain't nobody denying me because of that. Like Jay-Z, right? My cousin called me Hove. He said, your whole life remind me of that. That hair can be a symbol, but also you are not your hair, like India.Arie said. You know what you know, hair or no hair, because mine is receding a little. You 33, man. I'm 43, about to be 44. That thing was about to be like Stevie Wonder in a second, right? But I had to let it go for spiritual reasons, because I could not find the scripture to do what I was doing. But you are great in what you're doing, regardless. You're holding up the community on your back. I think my last question is, what makes you hesitate to go into politics? Let's say you get your comedy, you hit the pinnacle where you're at. We've seen actors turn politicians. We got one in the president office right now. Is it the job, or do you feel like that's just not your purpose currently right now?
Yeah, I like I tell everybody, I say I don't really know. I can't. Well, honestly, if God leads me there, then cool, He leads me there. then I don't have no choice but to go there. But I just don't know right now. That's not my focus. And 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 I need people to understand, as a state senator, if you go on senator, like in the state senate, they don't get paid a lot. A lot of them still got other jobs. So as a state representative, as a state senator, they probably only make like $29,000. So you may think that they make a lot of money, but they don't. They don't make a lot of money. So that's part of it. Will you run for office? Nah, because I need a job. I will have to get a job. I need to be stable. A lot of y'all are lawyers, and well off. So that's one thing. Another thing is, I want to get this going first. I got the Malc Show to push, right now. I can still make an impact without running for office. I'm doing it now. So if I can do it without running for office, I'm good where I am. So, and just like I tell anybody else, unless I have to, then I won't, then I will. But if it's a situation where it's like nobody's running and I know I'm qualified and there's a Republican running and they need an opponent and nobody else is there, and I'm the only, in a situation like that, then it's like, all right, then I'll go. But right now, that's not my focus. It's more so I'm in politics because I care and I want to help make a difference, But also, I'm the Malc Show and I got nonprofit. I'm trying to grow that, First, I want to buy a house first. And I don't want to be an elected official without a house. Like, what? And then I learned you got to disclose your stuff. I don't want to do that. You got to disclose your income and where you stay at. And I'm like, bro, nah, I don't want to sign that form and do that. First, they were trying to have local government do that. But then they were like, all right, maybe not local, but as a state, yeah, you do. I'm like, nah, I'm not putting out all of my assets and how much money I make and this and that. I don't want the world. No, it's not worth it.
Well, it's a game to everything. I wanted to be a lobbyist, and my lobbyist friends say I can't get in until I get a felony. So I get it, and they have to disclose all of their stuff as well. But there's tricks of the trade that are in the gray area. But I want people to check out that description box, and I want them to go to your YouTube, subscribe, and I want them to harass you in the comments if you don't have some new content. Let's give him a month and a half, y'all, and let him put some new content. I could go Joe Rogan style all day, but I want to leave something because the best is yet to come for you. I already see it. The way you deal with people, the way you're prompt, the heart that you have. I'm not going to say, hey, I pray that you get into office, because I also know as soon as you get in there, you'll have a third cousin talking about, I remember him owing me some lemon heads. He don't keep his word, right? It's a lot of, you don't want somebody to die of a heart attack, but if it's meant for you, it's for you. Unlike my Irish twin up in there in Mar-a-Lago, you might not be able to tell people like we tell them, yeah. Well, we double down on stuff because you ain't gonna take nothing from us. And the day they get tired of us, we're going somewhere else and saying, y'all can have this. Because the change that you can do, you've lived in this area, and we need that. We need that. So tell the people where they can find you, because I want them to think, man, there was so much more to his story. Yeah, you're gonna get it on the Malc Show. And then when he comes back, we're gonna talk about, hey, yo. Now you want a nationwide tour. How does it feel? Now your movie is movies, IMBD, and you've been to the NATPE, which I believe I share it with you, and maybe you've sold a film, right? Like you got that in you. You just got to stay on course and believe it. In Jesus Christ's name, believe that. But let the people know where they can find you and the best way to connect if they want to book you.
Yeah, everything is the Malc Show. At the Malc Show, TheMalcshow. Honestly, my number is online. When you're a registered voter and when you a human, everything is online. So Malcolm Sommons is my name. So if you're looking for my number, it's somewhere on there. If you need to reach out, text me, call me, and shoot. Everybody else got it. My email, surehandedproductions@gmail.com if you want to book or reach out, Instagram, DM me or anything like that. Yeah. If you like to donate to the nonprofit, we're doing our yearly retreat with our kids. We're taking them on a cruise this year. They're going to the Bahamas and Coco Cay. We're taking them on Royal Caribbean. A lot of our kings and queens, you have some students that just some of them haven't even been on a plane before. Sometimes the situations where some of them may haven't even been in a hotel room. So this is great that we're able to bring them out. They get to look at the Bahamas, be on the cruise, and eat 24/7, play, have a good time. But if you like to donate to the nonprofit, it's P Precious Hands or $ P Precious Hands on Cash App, or Zelle at 561-880-7503. That's 561-880-7503. Periana Precious Hands Incorporated. P Precious Hands is the website.com. If you want to look, and we're updating that website as well, so it's a little old. But we're doing a lot of great things. Like I said, the Malc Show, you can find me there, or you can go on to and I don't like talking about my job and stuff, but I mean, I guess if you need any assistance in the county, you can call our office in the county, where Commissioner Bobby Powell's office is, at 561-355-2207. That's our office number. I'm not going to tell you who else on staff, but I'm there. I'm probably going to answer the phone. But if you are looking for any assistance, any Palm Beach County assistance, whether it's you need help with your rent, or you're struggling, or you need a place to stay, you're homeless, or even if you need food stamps, that's state. But I mean, we can, obviously, I still know people. Or if you need rental assistance or cash assistance or any problems you have, we'll try to figure it out. Unless it's a legal case, I can't help you. That's you need a lawyer for that. We don't once a lawyer get involved, ain't nothing we can do about that. But yeah.
You mean they can't you can't get nobody out like Trump, man? You can't get nobody.
We ain't no pardons and
No pardons. Okay. Tell the people, what does it cost to sponsor a child on that cruise? How much?
How much is the cruise? The rooms. Honestly, whatever your donation is, you just whatever you want to donate. I'm not entirely sure how much the rooms are, because it's me and like two other people. Two other kids. I don't know how much the room is.
Okay.
But if they would just want to donate, because we're doing more. We do a back to school every year. We do a Christmas drive every year. And in between, just any of our families may be struggling with something, then we find ways to help them. We do homework help. And then, we reach out to our other resources just in case somebody needs some assistance or anything like that. So yeah.
Get me even if it's an AI flyer on what that costs, just because I love that. I love that idea of taking kids. The fact that you can do it internationally. I sit on one of the boards on Palm Beach State College, and I wanted to take kids to Kenya or anywhere in Africa so they can see who they really are, right? Because here in South Florida, everything is like, what are you? You Haitian? What Sapa say? I got pickles. Are you Jamaican? Guan, what you want to do? Can I just be a person? But travel is the biggest teacher that we can give anybody, young or old, and your mind just goes and flows. So when you get those numbers right, and even if, like I say, it's an AI chat GPT flyer, those are all good. I want to share that information because At 12, my mother put me on a plane by myself. By 14, I'm sitting with all my people from like West Oakland, which is, the hood.
Yeah.
And folks is like scared to fly. And I'm like, I mean, this is what I'm used to. And 27 countries in, I'm able to say, man, that made a big difference. Mother just saying, yo, you got to go see your great aunt, and just kick it. You got to get out of here.
Yep.
California is not for you. You know what? It's not for me. Yeah, nah, you think a little different. So I want to know how much it costs per child. And if you can keep doing that, and if you say, hey, Africa, whether it's young or old, a lot of times when we go to Africa, they're expensive trips, but where there's a will, there's a way, especially when there's a God, there's a way. But
Yeah.
that I mean, we have grown men who say, I can't be an American anymore. I found my wife out here. I didn't fit in. I was a fish out of water in America, and I've made my money and I'm able to retire. Whatever that means to everybody is different. But yeah,
Right.
when you get that, please share that with me because we'll definitely put the website for the nonprofit. And if I can put a little blurb, hey, it costs $500 or whatever the cost is to
Yeah.
sponsor a child.
Minimum for sure. I think the rooms, minimum 500 each room, but we're doing maybe like 2 bunk beds or something in the room. So it's around that, about $500-$600 per room. Per child, I'm not sure. So I think, well, I think it is per child around 500. Yeah, it's around that, around the ballpark, about 500 per child. Yeah, it was around that. It's always,
Okay.
it's always 500. Like that's always the idea.
Okay. And
So
they
yeah,
can Cash App or Zelle or even send an old school check, right?
yep. Cash App again, $ P Precious Hands. And maybe my mom name of Centralia Hines, who is the CEO of Perry and Precious Hands. I think her name pops up on the business Cash App, because she's controlling it. But that's that. P Precious Hands, $ P Precious Hands. I also we'll be in Atlanta. Our movie Child Support One will be featured at the film festival Funniest F. Funny AF. I don't curse, so AF, Funniest F, film festival. We're gonna be. I think they're gonna be playing our film there. That's the end of this month. We're gonna be there from the 23rd through the 26th. I'm gonna leave on the 25th and try to make it back because I gotta make it back for church. But I'm gonna leave on the 25th. But we're gonna be up there that weekend at that film festival. I got this interview. I'm doing another one Sunday to talk about my story again and promote the music. I mean, promote the movie. And then we'll be in Atlanta. May 9th, I got another comedy show at Grandview Marketplace with John Sorrell. May 17th, I got a show with Eddie Green. I think that's at Empire Lounge on 45th Street. But just look out again at the Malc Show on IG or Instagram for those flyers and for those shows coming up. And I think I got another one. Because we started doing shows at the American Legion on Sundays. So I think maybe after Mother's Day weekend, maybe we'll do another show. So maybe this month, I think I got like 3 shows this month so far. Yeah, May 9th, I know, which is Friday. May 9th, May 17th, and May whatever else that show is, and whenever we get a date. Yeah.
Okay, well, feel free, send me links because I'm gonna send you if I hear comedy and I'm gonna say, hey, and you're gonna tell me, man, I already hit this spot up, or oh, that's the new spot in Belgrade. Whatever the case may be, share it with me. You guys, this won't be the last time you hear from us. So make sure you tune in. What I need y'all to do, I need y'all to like, I need y'all to make a comment, I need y'all to subscribe, but most importantly, I need y'all to share this game with somebody. It will change their life. For real, for real. Y'all be blessed.
Are you tired of the rat race in America? Are you ready to visit the motherland to relax and rejuvenate? Are you ready to explore all that Africa has to offer? Then check out the brand new Diversified Game Academy course, Prepare for My First Trip to Africa. Are you worried about being able to afford the trip? We got you. We will show you how to travel either on a budget or as a baller. Learn how to stress the value of the USD. Did you know that 100 United States dollars is worth over 1,000 South African rand, or 10,000 Kenyan shillings, or 54,250 West African CFA? Are you worried about taking your kids? Get the game from Kellen Cash, a bona fide world traveler, having traveled to almost 20 countries, several of those in Africa. Get the game on taking your kids on their first trips. Learn how to find the best tickets, get the visas, and plan your own adventures in Africa. Don't let Eddie Murphy have all the fun. Plan your own coming to Africa trip starring you, produced by you, and featuring you. If you are ready for a life-changing experience, sign up for our course today, Diversified Game Academy. Get prepared and purchase at diversifiedgame.com.